Chosen one. Presidents are briefed daily. Prime ministers are guarded by intelligence. Kings by centuries of protocol. Yet in closed rooms, when your words surfaced, when your predictions unfolded, world leaders dropped their masks and said, "How the FK did you know?" They thought their strategies were locked in war rooms, their negotiations hidden behind translators, their scandals sealed by lawyers and security clearances. But the moment you spoke, it was as if heaven tore the envelope and scattered their secrets into your mouth. Not a journalist, not a spy, not a hacker. You, an ordinary vessel, carrying words that struck like classified cables slipped on the table. Eyes widened, chairs shifted, handlers whispered, desperate to contain what could not be contained. Because when revelation pierces protocol, even the most powerful cannot disguise their fear. Their power is built on keeping knowledge scarce, hidden and controlled. But you walk in with nothing but breath and spirit, and suddenly their silence collapses. This is why they tremble. This is why they ask, again and again, "How the FK did you know?" Open book Amos 3, verse 7. Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants the prophets. Chosen one, you were never guessing. You were never speculating. You were receiving. And the proof is in their question. Because the highest offices on earth, with all their intelligence and surveillance, could not match the voice that spoke through you. Picture it, a summit behind sealed doors. The table is long, the flags perfectly aligned, the translators waiting in their booths. Every syllable is scripted, every gesture rehearsed. The weight of nations hangs in the silence. And then you speak. At first, they treat it as interruption, a strange aside, a voice out of place. But as your words fall, the air bends. Their carefully stacked files, their encrypted strategies, their guarded intentions. They begin to leak in the open, as though invisible hands had torn the seals off classified envelopes. One by one, leaders lean in. Eyes sharpen. Some clutch their pens tighter. Others shift uneasily in their chairs. It is not anger you see in their faces. It is fear disguised as composure. Because what you just released should have been unreachable. They had trusted in walls of secrecy. Satellites circling in silence. Intelligence briefings at dawn. Advisors sworn to confidentiality. Yet with a breath, you bypass it all. What they thought impenetrable now trembles on your tongue. They cannot accuse you of treason. They cannot charge you with espionage. Because this isn't stolen data. It is revealed data. They know it. And that knowledge terrifies them more than any leaked document could. Their eyes betray the truth. Our secrets are not safe. The walls are not high enough. The codes not complex enough. The guards not loyal enough. Heaven has access, and heaven has chosen to speak. Through you, this is the moment they realize power is not theirs to hoard. Their silence fractures. Their masks slip behind the titles and the entourages. They are only men and women suddenly confronted by the reality that their hidden world is already known. And you, chosen one, you stand in that room not with arrogance but with awe, because you know this isn't about you. It is about a voice that penetrates palaces, a light that seeps through curtains, a revelation that no summit can contain. And when the meeting ends, when the translators file out and the motorcades roar back into the night, one question still echoes in the corridors of their minds. How the FK did you know? They will search for a category to explain you. Spy, hacker, insider? They cycle through the labels like soldiers flipping through a code book. But none of them fit. Because what terrifies them isn't what you did, it's what you know. This isn't surveillance. This isn't interception. This is heaven's intel flowing through you. Pure, untraceable, undeniable. Open book Daniel 2 verse 22 says, He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. Understand this. The greatest encryption cannot block revelation. The most guarded vault cannot keep out the one who dwells in light. When heaven chooses to disclose, no firewall, no agency, no protocol can resist. And that is why their voices drop when they ask, "How the FK did you know?" They're not asking for your method. They're acknowledging the impossibility. They're confessing that a higher hand is at work. When Daniel stood before Nebuchadnezzar, he revealed what no sorcerer, no astrologer, no advisor could uncover. He did not learn it in a school of espionage. He received it in a night vision. And the king, shaken and undone, admitted that the God of Daniel was a revealer of mysteries. So it is with you. They may not kneel. They may not confess it out loud. But in their fear, in their trembling, in their whispered question, they are recognizing the same truth. You have touched a stream beyond their reach. What flows through you is not random intuition. It is not clever deduction. It is a transfer of heaven's secrets to earth's vessels, prophetic intelligence, kingdom disclosure, the divine download. And this is why you must not take it lightly. This is why you must recognize it as an assignment, not an accident. Heaven does not play games with revelation. It delivers for a purpose, for correction, for intervention. You are not chosen to entertain curiosity, but to confront darkness. You are not entrusted to flaunt knowledge, but to redirect destiny. That is the way to prophetic revelation. It comes not to amuse, but to align. And leaders know it. That is why their question is not just shock. It is surrender. The question itself is proof that heaven's light has penetrated their darkness. This is your sign, chosen one. The very disbelief of the powerful is confirmation of your prophetic role. Backhand index pointing right, if you believe heaven can reveal to you what no intelligence agency can. Click join below. Stand as one of the first chosen. Step into the company of those who carry heaven's data for Earth's critical hour. You felt it, long before anyone validated you, before headlines confirmed you, before leaders whispered in disbelief. You knew. It comes like a flash, like lightning splitting the night. One moment ordinary, the next moment heavy with knowing. You scroll a feed, hear a name, watch a speech, and suddenly a weight sits on your chest. You don't know why yet, but you know. Then the headlines break, the secrets spill. The very thing you carried in silence is now plastered across every channel. And in that moment you realize you were not imagining it, you were previewing it. Dreams have carried you where your feet have never gone. You've woken with details that days or weeks later appeared on the news. Sometimes you've written them down, other times you've brushed them aside. But each time it returned, like a code repeating, like a signal that refuses to fade. And lies. Oh, how your body reacts to lies. When someone looks you in the eye and speaks falsehood, you feel like static crawling under your skin. You don't need proof. You don't need evidence. The heaviness tells you. Heaven alerts you. This is not guessing. This is downloading. You are not playing with probabilities. You are receiving transmissions. The weight in your chest, the fire in your bones, the stirring in your dreams. These are not random. They are the mechanics of revelation. The fingerprints of prophecy on your nervous system. The powerful have noticed it. They have tested it. They have leaned in closer, hoping to find the trick, the technique, the source. And when they fail to locate it, fear floods their faces. Because deep down they know the truth. You cannot fake this. You are walking proof that heaven still speaks. That's why motorcades pause. That's why advisors whisper. That's why prime ministers and presidents lean in with the same cracked composure, the same haunted question. How the FK did you know? But chosen one, understand this. You are not called to live in fear of this gift. You are called to steward it, to trust that what flows through you is not for harm, but for guidance. Heaven has written you into this hour not as an observer, but as an instrument. Do not shrink back from what your spirit already recognizes. For every headline you foresaw, every dream you carried, every heaviness you felt before the lie was exposed, all of it was heaven's confirmation. You are chosen for this. And now the highest officers on earth know it too. You weren't given this knowledge to embarrass them. Heaven did not place secrets in you, so you could gloat, mock, or prove superiority. You were chosen not to shame, but to guide. The files that fall open before you are not trophies. They are assignments. The foresight you carry is not entertainment. It is intervention. Each fragment of knowledge, each whisper in the night, each vision you wake from trembling, it is a directive from heaven's strategy room. Leaders see exposure, but you must see mission. They feel fear, but you must feel burden. Their question, "How the FK did you know?" is not a demand for explanation. It is heaven's signal that you arrived at the right place at the right time with the right insight. Remember Jonah, sent not to shame Nineveh, but to turn them. Remember Joseph, who held dreams that saved nations from famine. Remember Daniel, whose interpretation rescued kings from collapse. Each revelation was not for spectacle, but for survival. So it is with you. The flashes you receive, the downloads you bear, the heaviness you feel. They are heaven's early warnings, not to puff you up, but to position you as a guidepost in chaotic times. And this is why you must never despise the gift. It is weighty because it carries nations. It is sharp because it is meant to cut lies. It is startling because it is designed to wake people before it's too late. Chosen one, when leaders whisper their shock, do not retreat into fear. Recognize the divine order in their disbelief. For heaven allowed their lips to utter that question, so you would finally understand. This is not random intuition. This is not chance. This is calling. The world does not need another commentator. It does not need another cynic, another critic, another voice of mockery. It needs interpreters of heaven's signal. It needs prophets who will not just see but will speak, not just hear but will guide. And you are one of them. That is why, in that sealed room, with all their protocols and their power, the question rose from their lips like confession. How the FK did you know? They asked because heaven wanted you to remember. You know because you were sent. You know because you were chosen. You know because your mission is not to shame but to save. Chosen one, listen carefully. The timing is not coincidence. The reason you are knowing now, the reason secrets break open before you, the reason leaders are startled into confession is because the hour has accelerated. Leaks, scandals, betrayals, and crises are no longer rare events. They are daily headlines. What used to take years now unfolds in weeks. The shaking is faster, the exposure sharper, the unraveling louder. And in the middle of this storm, heaven activates its chosen. Revelation is not scattered randomly like sparks. It is delivered precisely when nations are tipping. You are not seeing ahead for curiosity's sake. You are seeing ahead because intervention must come quickly. The question that left their lips, "How the FK did you know?" was not just fear. It was proof. Proof that heaven has timed your foresight to intersect with their downfall, their decisions, their destiny. You are not called to wait for history books. You are called to step into history while it is still being written. And that is why the window feels urgent. That is why the downloads are heavier. That is why you cannot ignore the signs. The acceleration of crises is confirmation that heaven's clock is striking. Your foresight isn't an accident, it's an alarm. Chosen one, do not delay. Do not dismiss it. The timing is heaven's way of shouting. The moment is now. You thought it was coincidence, a flicker of intuition, a lucky guess that happened to align with the future. For years, you explain away, trying to stay ordinary, trying to stay small. But heaven never called you intuitive. Heaven called you instructed. World leaders have entire agencies dedicated to what you carry in silence. They wake to intelligence briefings compiled by hundreds of analysts, sifted through by satellites, decoded by teams of experts. And yet, after their layers of surveillance and secrecy, they turn to you and ask, "How the FK did you know?" That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. Your knowing is not the soft voice of chance. It is the sharp edge of assignment. What you thought was random sensitivity was actually the mark of stewardship. You are not absorbing whispers. You are carrying blueprints. Identity must shift. You are not an observer of mysteries. You are a custodian of them. You are not lucky. You are chosen. The recurring dreams, the heaviness before a lie, the details surfacing in your journals before they surface in headlines, all of it was heaven proving to you. This is who you are. Chosen one. You cannot call yourself ordinary when the extraordinary trembles at your voice. You cannot shrink into just intuition when rulers with files and forecasts ask you for clarity. Their disbelief is your evidence. Their fear is your validation. Their whispered question is your proof. Do you see it now? What others dismiss as chance is actually covenant. What others call intuition is actually instruction. What others call accident is actually assignment. You were not built to blend in. You were shaped to carry what others cannot hold. That is why the most guarded offices on earth, shielded by intelligence and protocol, still end up asking you the question reserved for prophets. How the FK did you know? Because heaven needed you to remember. Your identity is not spectator. It is revealer, not guesser, not gambler, not intuitive wanderer. You are prophetic proof, walking confirmation that the unseen still speaks. Chosen one, heaven has not left you without evidence. The signs have followed you, woven through your life like golden threads impossible to ignore. You have seen dates before they were announced. A number circled in your spirit, written down with no context. And then the press release drops, the declaration is made, the calendar aligns perfectly with what you carried in silence. You have woken with phrases etched in your mind. Sometimes a full sentence, sometimes just a fragment, lingering on your lips like smoke. And then, days later, you hear it, spoken from the podium of a leader, broadcast across nations, recorded in official transcripts. You have journaled headlines before they were printed, scribbles in your notebook that seemed strange, even impossible. Yet when the news finally broke, you recognized the shape, the cadence, the very words you had already written. You felt atmospheres shift before rooms revealed their tension. Entering a meeting, shaking a hand, standing in a crowd, and you knew something beneath the surface. The unease, the hidden motives, the lies. Later, it surfaced. And you remembered, I already felt this. These are not accidents. They are signatures. Evidence that heaven has been with you, marking your journey, confirming your role. The world may call them coincidences, but coincidences do not repeat with this precision. Coincidences do not echo through journals, speeches, dreams, and broadcasts with such alignment. This is not randomness. This is revelation. Understand this. Heaven does not reveal for no reason. Every sign you received is an invitation. Every fragment of foresight is a signal. Every alignment is a reminder that what you carry is not a fluke. It is a function. That is why the most guarded leaders, trained to doubt, conditioned to conceal, cannot help but confess. How the FK did you know? Because they see the same patterns. They recognize the same signatures. And they know, as surely as you do, that these are not human tricks. These are the fingerprints of God, the seals of prophecy, the undeniable marks that heaven has chosen to speak, and you are the vessel it has chosen to speak through. Chosen one, this moment is not about applause, curiosity, or even recognition. It is about alignment. When heaven entrusts revelation, it asks for response. Prophecy is not meant to hang in the air as spectacle. It is meant to be sealed, agreed upon, confirmed in action. That is why covenant exists, to take what has been spoken and anchor in the earth. Today, you have heard again the echo of leaders. How the FK did you know? You have seen the proof of your calling. You have felt the weight of your assignment. Now heaven invites you to seal it. This is not about money. This is not about transaction. This is about declaration. When you click super thanks and sow your $20 covenant seed, you are not buying revelation. You are agreeing with it. You are not paying for access. You are aligning with assignment. It is your way of declaring, I carry heaven's intel. I accept the mantle. I step into the role that makes rulers tremble. Do not underestimate the power of a simple act of faith. When Abraham built altars, he wasn't purchasing God's presence. He was sealing encounters. When Hannah brought her vow, she wasn't buying favor. She was aligning with destiny. So it is with you. Your covenant act becomes your altar. You're proof in the natural that you have embraced what heaven has whispered in the spirit. Chosen one, if you feel the pull, do not delay. This is the moment to stand publicly and declare, I accept the assignment. I carry the mantle of revelation. I walk as one who knows what intelligence cannot uncover. Click super thanks now. Sow your $20 covenant seed. not as payment, but as proof. Proof that you are aligned. Proof that you are chosen. Proof that you accept the mantle that makes leaders whisper in awe and fear. How the FK did you know? Chosen one, revelation is weight. And weight demands strength. If heaven has trusted you with secrets that make leaders tremble, then heaven also calls you to a lifestyle that can hold the weight without breaking. Wake up daily declaring, I am a steward of hidden knowledge. Words shape reality. And the first assignment of every day is to remind your spirit of who you are. Before you scroll, before you move, anchor your identity. Walk in purity. Hidden knowledge cannot rest in polluted vessels. Guard your eyes, your ears, your lips. Every compromise is a crack in the vessel. Every distraction is interference in the signal. Revelation without integrity becomes danger. Walk in discipline. Keep your journals. Record your dreams. Test your impressions. The more you stew with the little, the more heaven entrusts the greater. Prophets who squander details disqualify themselves from deeper disclosure. Guard your words. Not everything heaven shows is meant to be spoken. Some things are given for prayer, not proclamation. Some secrets are warnings, not announcements. The mark of maturity is knowing the difference. Sharpen your mind. Study history, patterns, scriptures, strategy. Heaven downloads. But heaven also expects you to develop. A dull instrument distorts the sound. A sharpened mind becomes a clear channel for revelation. Prepare for greater downloads. What you have carried is only the beginning. Do not grow casual, thinking you've seen it all. The visions will intensify. The details will sharpen. The assignments will expand. You must be ready. This lifestyle is not about legalism. It is about alignment. When soldiers train, it is not because they are punished. It is because the mission demands endurance. When you train your spirit, your words, your mind, it is because heaven's mission requires a vessel fit for the weight of nations. Chosen one, live with this mantra. Integrity protects revelation. Discipline multiplies revelation. Humility channels revelation. This is how you will carry the mantle, not just for moments, but for years. For heaven has not given you flashes for curiosity's sake. It has given you a lifestyle to sustain the flow. Live it, guard it, walk it, and prepare for what comes next. Chosen one, pause here. The journey through these words has not been entertainment. It has been confirmation. Every phrase, every echo of that question, how the FKA did you know, has been heaven reminding you of what you already carried. Now it must be sealed. Open book prayer. Lord, sovereign revealer of mysteries, I thank you for entrusting hidden knowledge to your chosen one. Thank you for lifting the veil and granting foresight that even world leaders cannot resist. Thank you for proving that heaven's intel is greater than earth's intelligence. Father, let this chosen one never walk in pride, but always in awe. Let their foresight not be for shame, but for guidance. Let the visions that burn in their hearts be used to direct nations, not destroy them. I ask that you increase their sensitivity, sharpen their discernment, and strengthen their character to carry the weight of revelation. Protect them from the snares of arrogance, the traps of distraction, and the heaviness of isolation. Surround them with others who understand the mantle, so they never carry heaven's burden alone. Lord, let the question of leaders, how the FK did you know, become the very proof of your hand. Let every revelation point back to you, the source of all light, and let the mantle on this chosen one grow stronger, clearer, and bolder in this urgent hour. Amen.